Hey everyone, Mark Montgomery here, and in this short video we're going to talk more about ED and whether it is really binding. For example, if you break your agreement, will they haul you off to jail and put you in an orange jumpsuit? Let's see if we can answer that question. Let's go. The short answer to this question is yes. Early decision is a binding agreement. You make a moral commitment to play by the rules of the game. You sign a couple of documents. Mom and dad sign, student signs, and the high school counselor in the school signs this agreement. And everyone's agreeing to play by the rules as they are established by the colleges and their association, which is called the National Association for College Admissions Counseling, also known by the lovely acronym NACAC. So these are the rules, and if you don't want to play by the rules, well then don't play the game. This is the way it works. So if you decide to go early decision, that is a binding agreement. You signed on the line. You got to live up to it. However, this is not a contract. This is not something that is going to be enforced in a court of law. This is not something that they're going to whip you off to jail and put you in a courtroom and say, did you or did you not sign those little things on the application? No one ever is going to do that. This is not a contract, and admissions officers everywhere will tell you that. They don't want to tell you that. They don't like telling you that. They will talk about the moral commitment. But there is nothing legal about this agreement. So, what should you do? How do we perceive of this? It's a moral commitment, but it's not a legally binding contract. Sticky wicket. The new reality of early decision is that more and more colleges are using this, and this is so much in their interest that you risk, if you do not play the early decision game and sign up to the moral agreement, then you risk getting shut out of colleges that you may want to attend, especially if you're thinking about some of the more selective colleges in the United States that reject more applicants than they accept. If you just say, well, I don't want to play, I'm not going to make that commitment, well, this is the way the game is played. So you need to reconsider that point of view, irrespective of how you feel about it, right? So it's not about whether you think this is the right thing or the wrong thing. It's, are you going to play by the rules as they are established? And I'm going to tell you that if you're going to play this game, it's the colleges that establish the rules. So too bad, so sad, you got to do it. And of course, if you are applying early decision, you have to be careful about which colleges receive your application and do you actually fit the criteria that we have talked about in previous videos for applying early decision to. You do not want to make this promise if you really can't keep it. And I think this is the financial piece in spades. If you really think that you are going to need more money than they are able to give you, and you don't want to pay full price, and your EFC and all the net price calculators tell you that you're probably going to be paying full price for this college, well, don't sign up for false pretenses. Don't play the game stupidly. If you know that this college is not going to give you what you want, then don't sign the moral agreement. Don't sign on the dotted line. We got to play the game, but play the game wisely for yourself as well as for the colleges. That's just fair. My problem with early decision is that this is not a fair and equal balance of power between the providers of the educational services, in this case the colleges, as represented by NACAC, and the consumer. This is not an equal balance of power here. That the colleges definitely, this is totally in their interest, and it is very difficult to justify the way these rules, in my opinion. It is just not easy to justify these rules on a moral basis. It is the way the game is played. I am not ready to defend the rules based on ethics and morality. And I'm going to explain a little bit about that by telling you a story in a minute. So this is not about ethics and morality to me, but it's about the way the game is played. And you have to, again, decide whether you're going to do it. The thing about the rules is that they definitely benefit the colleges. I mean, they're trying to manage their budgets. They're trying to move up in the rankings. They're managing their statistics on the backs of the consumer. So they're saying, hurry up, decide, now, hurry. And we're like, as consumers, we're going, wait, I don't know if I want to go here. I want to, like, can I just play the field? Can I just, like, spread my applications around and you all tell me whether or not I'm admissible, and then I can make my decision based on the results that I receive? I mean, that would give the consumer more power, but the power has been stripped from the consumer, and the consumer needs to hurry up and decide now. Buy before midnight tonight, or you lose the option. Now, that's not, to me, about morality, but that is the way the game is played. So, again, you're not going to hear me say, naughty, if you decide not to play the game, but you're making a commitment to the rules of the game, and I'm going to talk about who gets hurt most if you don't live up to your commitment. That's next. So who gets hurt if you don't actually live up to your agreement? It's your high school. And how does this work? The primary enforcer of this obligation is your high school counselor. And it is not a positive, dangling out a carrot, a little bonbon to the high school. If you enforce the agreement, we're going to give you some candy. No, it's the fear of retribution that the high school has that motivates them to make you live up to your agreement. How does this work? Okay, so they sign the agreement. You sign it, mom and dad sign it, kid signs it, and the school signs it. And then the college, if you were to break your agreement, then the college would look at the high school and say, you got to make this kid come. And the high school says, I can't. So what does the college do? They say, aha, okay, well, next year, no more acceptances from your high school. We're going to put you on a blacklist because you're not living up to the agreement and you're not helping us, colleges, enforce our policies on the consumer. Now again, I'm not saying that this is really fair, but this is the way it works. So the high school counselors are put in the position to have to enforce a rule that benefits the university, doesn't benefit the high school. It only is the fear of retribution that makes the high schools enforce this policy. So you can screw over not only any other applicants that come after you in subsequent classes. The power exists for the college to say, your high school, I'm not taking anybody from you anymore because you don't live up to the agreement. So who bears the responsibility to enforce this policy? The high school. The school counselor is the primary enforcer of this. And if you are to back out from your agreement, you are going to mess up things for your high school. You're going to mess up things for your peers. Anybody who comes after you who may be applying to the same college is going to have a problem. Why? Because the high school is not enforcing the policy because the college says, we'll give you $100 or we'll give you some candy or a gift card to Starbucks if you enforce this policy. No, they are instilling a fear of retribution. If you don't uphold this policy, then any subsequent applications that come from your school, forget about it. We're not going to let them in because you are not upholding our business model. You are not enforcing our business practices, so we're not going to do business with you anymore. And this is actually what makes high schools quake in their boots when you decide not to live up to your agreement. So you need to think about this. It does mess up things for your high school. And high schools also are very proud of their acceptance rates into these selective universities that offer early decision 1 and 2. So the moral aspect is, again, not between you and the college so much, it's between you and your high school and you and any peers that you might you might mess things up for in the future. So this is where the moral issue comes, is not about the school, but about anybody at your high school who might want to apply to this fancy pants college in the future. So this is the moral calculus that you need to keep in mind. I'm not defending it on the merits of the way the colleges do business, but you have to be careful about your high school. Is there ever any justification for getting out of your ED agreement? Well, everyone will tell you, and you'll see this often, and colleges will say this too, that you can get out of it if there is a financial aid problem. So if you somehow cannot pay to attend the said school, then you can get out of it. But what is the college thinking about? They're thinking about maybe extreme changes in your financial picture. Maybe a parent lost a job. Maybe a parent became disabled and cannot work. Okay, maybe now it's not affordable for you to attend a university, or maybe there's some other extenuating circumstance financially that makes it impossible. But you also have to think about who determines financial aid, and especially merit-based scholarships. These are the college, and you can do your homework before you apply. You can do the EFC calculators, you can do the NPC, net price calculators. You know, more or less, when you apply, what the cost of this university is going to be for you and your family. So this is also a problem. Do not file your application for ED under false pretenses if you really can't afford it. Do your homework in advance. I would tell you that if this is the school that you're applying to, ED, it has nothing to do with morality. That's just silly, because you know you're going to get a price that you can't afford, and you're going to have wasted this extra superpower of the ED boost for a school that you can't pay for. So don't do that. That on practical grounds, that's not very smart. Furthermore, I just want to remind you that financial need and financial wants are not the same. You can tell, again, when you do the EFC calculators, the NPC calculators, you can tell whether or not this school is going to be within your financial ballpark. You may think that you're going to get more. You may hope and pray that you're going to get more, but it's just like I was talking about with students thinking optimistically that a miracle will happen. Miracles generally don't happen in the college admissions process. It's, if you do your homework and you think things through, you'll know more or less what you're going to get. So don't be silly. Don't waste your power applying to schools that are just not going to work for you, and therefore beg mercy and have to back out of your ED agreement. Do your homework in advance. That will really help, and it also makes sense. I mean, think about it. Do you want to do that to a student? Oh, honey, apply early decision. That'll be awesome, and maybe you'll get into your dream school. Oh, never mind. Sorry, we can't afford it. Pull rug out from under student. Not a good idea. So I'm going to ask this question a little bit different way. Can you cancel your ED agreement? No, you can't, because it's a moral obligation that you've signed, and you are going to screw things over for your high school and any subsequent applicants who may come after you if you don't live up to your agreement. So you can get out of it for financial aid reasons. You can get out of it if you have not yet heard. So if you have not received the offer yet for an ED agreement, you can call them. Don't email, don't do anything else. Call them, get somebody on the phone, and have them change your application status immediately. That can be done if they have not already sent out the offer letter. So that's the way you can do it. It's also true that this is not a legally binding contract. So if you get out of it, you're not going to end up in jail. If you renege on the agreement, it's okay. It's also, financially, you don't want to be foolish. If it turns out that you were being too optimistic, you were being maybe had a lot of wishful thinking and thinking that this was really going to be affordable to you. And now you look at it and you're like, no, I can't do this. I'm going to be in the poorhouse. I'm never going to be able to retire. I can't take care of my ailing, elderly parents if I do this. Then don't. It's not a legally binding contract. Get out of it. Get out of it. It's not easy. And if you try to get out of it, it will be painful. It will definitely be painful. But you got to be honest. If it's not going to work for you, especially with financial issues, it's better to get out of it. So now I'd like to share with you a little story about a real-life student, a real-life case. Family who came to me because they were just tied up in knots about the early decision commitment that their son had made. So they called me, it was maybe in January of the young man's senior year, and the family was just absolutely, it was mountains and mountains of stress. First thing you need to know is the family is divorced, so parents are divorced, and the son is bouncing back and forth between parents. Parents do not agree about much in terms of the young man's future. So that's background. The other thing is that the family has the money. This is a full pay family. It is not an issue of financial aid. So what were the issues? This young man, his mother was really driving the college admissions process. This young man wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but he knew he had been playing a sport all the way through high school and was, pretty good, not awesome, but he wasn't sure whether he wanted to go to a school where he could play his sport. And his mother, however, started fixating on a particular school, thinking, oh my gosh, this is academically the best place for you, and you need to apply early decision. And really putting the pressure on the young man. And he's like, well, wait a minute, I can't play my sport there because this was a Division II school and he wasn't really good enough. He had already talked to the coach, and the coach had told him, well, you could try walking on, but you're generally not the kind of guy I want. So at least the coach was being honest with the young man and saying, no, you're probably not going to be able to play your sport at this particular school. So this gets the boy to thinking. He's like, I don't know if I want to play the sport. I know it doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to college to become an athlete. I'm going to college to get an education, but I really like my sport. It's really fun. And mom's saying, no, you don't want to do your sport because, that's not thinking about your future. Your future is this school. And dad is trying to stay out of it and, sort of let things happen, but, talking to his son and say, so what do you think? So the boy is just, What does he do? He applies early decision, just like his mother wanted. He gets in. And the boy gets it, and he goes into full anxiety mode. He is just frantic because now he has made a moral commitment to a school that he's not sure he wants to attend. He's also all of a sudden starting to get some interest from coaches at other schools that are D3, and they're saying, hey, are you interested in playing your sport here at my school? Because you could. So now the kid is really freaking out because now his worst nightmare has come true. He's learning that he could actually play his sport in college. Even though his mom wasn't really keen on that, he has been keen on it. Dad knows that this is one of the things that makes the young man happy, keeps him engaged in school, helps him keep his grades up. He's actually a really busy guy, and but the kid now, this is horrible because now the boy is looking at his moral commitment and thinking, I can't back out of this because that would not be nice. That would not be right. I made a commitment, but I don't want this. And the dad's like, I don't know how to help my kid. What do I do? And mom is feeling badly, but she's also happy because the school that she wanted for her son, she got. So she's not really part of the anxiety attack. So I get a call from dad and saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So what would you do? What would you do in this case? So here's what I did. I talked to the young man. I had a couple of conversations with him. I wanted to understand his thought process. I wanted to figure out, was he just blowing smoke, or was this really a subject of great anxiety for him? And yeah, it was. It was really hard for him. And he wasn't even allowing himself to talk to some of these other coaches because he was like, but I can't because I've already made my decision. And so I called the school in question. This was not one of the super selective schools in America. It's a selective school, and it's relatively selective, but it's not super selective. So I just called the admissions officer and, one of the admissions officers that I've had some contact with in the past, and I said, here's the deal. And I explained the whole situation. Story just like I told you. And she said, Mark, we don't want him. We don't want him to come to a school that he really doesn't want to come to. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And, we'll probably have to wrap his knuckles and tell him that he's a naughty boy. But if he really is not going to be happy here, that's not good for us either. So we'll just have him write to us and tell us that this is what's going on, and give us the straight scoop, and we'll let him out of the agreement. But we might have to wrap his knuckles a little bit. So I call the family, and with good news, I'm like, they're going to let you out of the agreement, no problem, because this is not a legally binding agreement. And notice that the college did not say, we're going to go screw over the high school. We're not going to go back to his high school and tell him, you guys didn't uphold the bargain, so we're going to... Partly because this school is not one of the... This is not Stanford. This is not MIT. So they don't have that kind of power in the marketplace. So they're going to just let it go. And that's exactly what happened. The parents, though, the father especially, was absolutely... he must have called me 8 times. He'd wake up in the morning, really early in the morning, he'd call me like at 5:30. Mark, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous about my son. He's just... I was like, relax, just relax. So I helped him write the agreement. I write the letter to the college in question. It was a very nice letter, and it was very honest and very heartfelt because this boy had made the wrong decision. It happens. We all make wrong decisions, right? Buyer's remorse, maybe. And we say, no, I don't want this anymore. So that's what he did. And sure enough, he got a letter not too long later, maybe a couple of weeks. Let him agonize a little bit. And he got a letter a couple of weeks later that was a nasty letter. It was a nasty letter. You are a naughty, naughty boy. You did not live up to your agreement. We take this very seriously, yada, yada, yada. And then that was the last of it. And he ended up going to another school. He's playing his sport at this other school. He is happy, happy, happy. And of course, family's really happy. Moral of the story, you can get out of this agreement if you have to. What should you do in this case? In cases like this? Number one, if you've got one of these headaches on your hands, this is something you probably want to talk to us about. This falls in the shameless plug category. If you are in this pickle about early decision and you're trying to get out of it, you may need some help. And this is something that we can do, and this is something that we can call and get information from the colleges. We can even talk to the high school if we need to, anonymously, whatever needs to happen to help you make the decision. But, and while I am telling you that this is a moral commitment, that you need, if you're going to play this game, you need to play by the rules. But I'm also not here as a former religion major who has, a student of ethics and really wants to live up to the highest of moral principles. I have a hard time justifying this whole system on moral principles. It's the rules of the game, but are the rules of the game themselves ethical and moral for young students who are, in many cases, minors, making big decisions that may cost $350,000 US? No, I'm not going to hold that system up as the moral and ethical paragon of virtue. This is a business, and this is a game, a business game that is played by certain rules. You should play by the rules. But if something happens, if there's a foul, well, maybe you need some help. So that's my take on the early decision and the binding nature of it. It's been a long video, but it's a really important issue. And especially if you're a family that's in this situation, you need to think it through. And you may need some professional help doing that. So consider giving us a call. Thanks very much, and I will see you on another video. Take care.